With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey. This is a bunch of stuff, deal.
What does that mean, a bunch of stuff?
Well, it means it's simply inaccurate.
It's Irish.
Exactly, it is. We Irish call it malarkey.
Thanks for the translation.
No,
Okay.
We Irish call it malarkey.
You know what this is? Yeah, and I reserve this word for those rare instances when it's truly deserved. This is malarkey.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
From the King Spring Studios here in Smyrna, Georgia, this is A Bunch of Malarkey. I'm your host, Charlie McMahon. Thank you so much for joining us for this pre-Thanksgiving, pre-Black Friday edition of the show. Wherever you're listening to us, whatever platform that may be, please subscribe. We're available on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. And joining me here in the studio this week is Corey. Corey, welcome.
Hello, Charlie. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming here after a busy day at work.
Yep.
Corey is an actual neighbor of mine. Now, originally we were going to do the show during Corey's commute to work. The theme of this show towards the end, once we get through all the malarkey, is going to be about commuting to work, especially in a city like Atlanta, where we're ranked the fourth worst congested city in America.
That's right.
So, but the sound quality in the car wasn't that great, so we thought maybe you'd change the channel and go to another podcast out of frustration from not being able to hear us. So we decided to take it right here to the studio. So thanks again for coming in today.
No problem. That's a good cover story that I lost my job and don't have to commute anymore. No.
Just thought you'd throw that in there, right?
No, I'm kidding.
So we usually start the show off with recapping the weekend. Now, this is the weekend before Thanksgiving, where everybody's running around, and that'll segue later to our commuting, where the roads are going to be jammed this week. So I don't know if you have to go in Monday through Wednesday this week or if you have some time off, but this is a crazy week. And this weekend we're at a weird time right now because we still have leaves on the trees. Now, Thanksgiving comes this year the earliest it can possibly come. November 22nd is the earliest you'll ever have Thanksgiving, and the 28th is the latest. So here in Atlanta, we basically have like 75% coverage of leaves still in the trees, and we're going to be putting out Christmas decorations in a couple of days. Is that what your plan is, the weekend after Thanksgiving?
I'm being told that's what my plan is. I'm being told.
Yeah, that's on the honey-do list for the Thanksgiving weekend?
My wife is the female Buddy the Elf.
So she's the big decorator of the family, not you.
Well, it's what she does for a living. She's an interior designer.
Okay.
And then Christmas is just kind of the all-out for her.
Now, do you get into it too?
I enjoy Christmas. I don't enjoy 20-foot ladders. I don't enjoy scuttle holes in attics and, lopping off the bottom 4 inches of a tree in the driveway with a chainsaw at 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, you still go with the real tree?
Oh, yeah. It's not a question in my house for some.
If the choice was up to you, you'd go with the artificial?
Fake tree every year, pull it down at leisure when I want to.
Exactly. I mean, our tree is in that little room right over there.
That's right.
And it's easier than going out every year and lugging it home, pine needles all over your floors.
Yep.
So you get into it, but you're not like over the top where you're...
I'm not over the top. I during the holidays, I want to chill. I want to put my feet up.
Well, you do that after the decorating.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I actually got all my decorations. They're stored in the basement, but staged them at the bottom of the basement. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And now
they're already ready to go up the stairs?
They're at the bottom of the stairs in their totes, labeled, ready to go.
Oh, wow.
I'm ready to go. I mean, my wife's kind of like, let's put up the tree and that's it. I'm ready. I'm just ready to go. Now, outside, I don't really go that crazy. I put a few things up, some those laser lights, which makes it easy now. You don't have to climb up these ladders anymore, but I don't go that crazy outside, but inside, I like that. Like you said, when you're chilling and hanging out at the holidays with the eggnog, with the rum, whatever you're drinking, I like to be festive. I like it to be decorated.
But you can come set up my house, too.
Yeah, I'll be glad to help. Well, in addition, we're talking about like holidays and leaves. Now, when we talk about mutants, which we're gonna get to our mutant of the week segment, which I know you love you're a listener, right?
I am a listener. I'm not all the way through your previous episodes, but
shame. I'm just kidding. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, here's my version of a mutant. Now the leaves are starting to fall, and I'll be out, for the next couple of weeks cleaning them up, probably around Christmas decorations. You ever see these people who just, whether it's their landscapers or themselves, they think cleaning leaves in the yard is blowing them in the street. You ever see these people?
Into the street, into the neighbor, across the property line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What happened to like bagging leaves or mulching them or whatever? I see this
Well,
now.
you got to get your hands. Would they get wet? And
Yeah, but still, I mean, thankfully on my block here, everybody's pretty good. But I've lived in places where people just blow them, and I see it all the time when I'm driving down the road. Just these landscapers blowing. Where do they think they're going to end up?
So I just saw this. It's funny you mention it. I was in Greenville, South Carolina earlier this week, and I was stuck trying to get to an appointment behind a leaf pickup truck.
Okay,
I've never seen one of those.
Oh, that one with the vacuum.
Yeah, big vacuum. Yeah. So it possibly transplants that think we have it?
I don't think so, because they're not putting them in a pile. They're just blowing them out.
Oh, okay.
What I do when I'm driving in the car, though, when I see somebody doing that, I angle my car in a way and speed up so I blow them right back at them.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little fun to do on the road.
The pedestrian on the sidewalk, the rain puddle, same deal?
No, I don't do the rain. That's mean. But because they're innocent just walking.
Right,
but somebody
right.
who's deliberately putting leaves, like, eventually those leaves are going to blow back on them. So I don't think they realize they're not really cleaning. You know what I'm saying? But I see it all the time. And when it rains, like it had the last 4 days here, that layer of leaves becomes almost like ice when it's in the street, when it's compressed down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. So would you categorize those people as mutants? That blow leaves in the street?
I wouldn't say mutants, just morons.
They're not in the mutant class.
Just dumbass, yeah.
So that's going to segue perfectly to our favorite segment of the show.
Mutant of the Week.
We had a landslide last week, and I kind of thought it would be, didn't you? I know you were in on the voting.
I saw it. I saw the Facebook vote. I voted one time. And no fake voting.
Right.
But I knew, as soon as I heard the stories, I knew this has got it going away.
And in a landslide, as you probably all know by now from the Facebook page, or if you haven't checked Facebook, peanut butter balls, 92%. The cookie klepto, only 8%. So it tells you a lot as a society where a woman who rips off her daughter's Girl Scout troop only gets 8% of the vote because it's such a crazy, insane thing that guy did with that dog.
Yeah, and I've tried to just... I tried not to visualize, but I tried to think about like what's going through his mind, and then you're like, do you woo the dog, or do you just go for it?
Yeah, exactly. Do you give him a few treats before you break out the jar of peanut butter?
Slow talk the dog.
I don't know, but it's a shame they had to put the dog down.
Yeah,
that was the sad part of the story, right?
It's not the dog's fault. Hell.
Well, before we get into our two nominees, like last week, and I'm telling you folks, I don't look for these stories. I just scroll Facebook and they just come out of everywhere. So I have a bonus one this week because I think the folks here in Atlanta can appreciate it. My Giants fans up in New York can appreciate it. And anybody with a struggling team that they follow can appreciate this. A Jets fan, now you talk about a franchise that's been struggling forever, and I feel bad for their fan base. A Jets fan charged with drunken driving after a crash told police he drank too much because his favorite team isn't any good, authorities said. Police in Wayne, New Jersey said 57-year-old Christopher Grayshock of West Milford was charged after he rear-ended another vehicle about 5:15 p.m. after the game on Sunday. The crash came an hour and a half after the Jets lost 41-10 to the lowly Buffalo Bills. Authorities say Grayshock told responding officers, I drank too much because the Jets suck. Grayshock had an open bottle of whiskey and suspected marijuana in his car, police said. Besides the DWI count, he was also charged with assault by auto. It's not clear if he's retained an attorney. So, I mean, I'm a Giants fan. As of this taping, they're 2-7. They suck. Atlanta fans have struggled with their four majors.
We lost to the Browns.
Exactly. I mean, what's the biggest excuse you've ever used when you got pulled over for a citation or something? Have you ever, or you just take the ticket and say, I'll deal with it in court?
I take the ticket, and what I have found, one time I was in college, I was flying down the highway, headed back to Atlanta, and was pulled over in Butler County, Kentucky.
Okay.
And
sounds like a lovely place.
Oh, it was great. Metropolis. So I was waiting tables or something like that at the time. I was like, you know what, just take my lumps, handle this like a man. Don't want my dad to find out, or whatever, even though he's going to find out on the insurance. So I go to court. I go to court in a full suit and tie. I'm like 21 years old. And the judge, female judge in Butler County, Kentucky, said, "Ladies and gentlemen, it pays off to come to court." Because I'm in there with, like, John Deere t-shirts, and overalls, Carhartts. And they said, it pays to dress up to come to court. You're excused.
That was great.
So, yeah, anytime I've gotten a citation, which maybe is 3 or 4 times in my life.
Right. Have you gradually gone up to a tuxedo?
Top hat.
Top hat.
Yeah, powdered wig.
With the monocle, you like the Monopoly guy showing up?
Good day, Governor.
So Corey's going to read, if he doesn't mind, our first Mutant of the Week nominee, and that comes out of Gulfport, Mississippi.
My favorite place as well. Good po' boys down there. Gulfport, Mississippi. A man has been arrested after he drove his pickup truck into a courthouse in Mississippi. Wow, first mistake. News outlets reported that the Gulfport Police Department said in a news release that 28-year-old Keith Cavalier told officers he intentionally crashed into the Harrison County Courthouse early Saturday because it was the best way to let them know his drug paraphernalia had been stolen. No one was hurt. Cavalier has been charged with driving under the influence and malicious mischief because of damage to the building. The Gulfport man is being held in the county jail. It was not known if he has retained an attorney yet.
Any takers out there? Any people barred in Mississippi or Georgia willing to take that case? I mean, you can't make this crap up.
No, what's going through? I mean, obviously he wasn't in his right mind, but if you're going to let the cops know that your drug paraphernalia was stolen, that's not how you do it.
Folks, why am I not shocked? Because I just wrote a whole book about all these people coming to court and the crazy shit they did. Yeah. So that's our Mutant number 1, the courtroom crasher, I guess we'll call him.
Okay.
And the second one comes out of Georgia again. We've been on a Georgia streak. It's Florida and Georgia every week for some reason, where a lot of these crazy stories.
It's the time of year.
Yeah, folks here in Georgia, we got to clean up our act a little bit. This comes out of Noonan. An inmate fled a Georgia jail with the help of his mom and then went out for pancakes. News outlets report 27-year-old Joshua Gulat and 54-year-old Kathy Lynn Pence were arrested Tuesday at an IHOP restaurant where they met his children. Gulat had slipped out a side door of the Heard County Jail hours earlier. Investigators then listened to a phone call Gulat made to Pence about the escape. The sheriff's office, Sergeant Dan Boswell, says it was just so happened that during the same phone call, Pence was pulled over for running a stop sign, so authorities identified her car and tracked her phone to the Noonan IHOP. Gulat had been slated for work release. Now he's charged with felony escape, and his mother is charged with aiding and abetting. So the pancake prisoner. So, you bust out of jail. You going to IHOP? Where you heading?
Waffle House for me.
You going to Waffle House?
Yeah.
Is that the first thing?
Short stacks on sale or something?
Yeah, I don't know. He was going. Well, no, that's Denny's, the Grand Slam.
Oh, okay.
I could see if he went to Denny's for the Grand Slam because he hadn't eaten in a while and the jail food shit.
Do you think there's possible that he was wanting his mother to get him away, but she wanted to stop to eat?
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe she's a hungry lady.
Damn, Mama.
Yeah, we gotta dig in deeper on that.
There's more to it.
There's more to it. So we hope he enjoyed his breakfast, but he's back where he belongs. So before we get into our main topic, which is Atlanta and commuting in general, Black Friday is upon us, folks. Now, Corey, are you a guy that goes to these Black Friday sales, or do you steer clear?
110% no.
And why is that? You just don't need anything that badly?
I don't care. The thrill, the excitement for $25 off something, if they had 65-inch Samsung TVs, $250 off.
Right.
Not getting up at 3 a.m. is worth $250 to me.
Right.
So I'll pay full price a week later.
I get it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Have you ever gone to a Black Friday sale?
I think once.
And what was the experience like?
I remember,
did you witness any fights?
No fights. I remember because they're doing the bait and switch too.
Of course.
All these TVs are DVD players, and then you get in there and they have 4.
Right.
And they're hoping you buy
something
stuff.
else, exactly, with a bigger markup.
Yeah, I think I went to a Target one year early in the morning for a 5-disc CD changer.
That's going way back.
I needed it for the dorm room.
For the dorm room.
Yeah.
You had to load your Alanis Morissette, Nirvana, and all that stuff.
Well,
it's like the 90s, right?
Well, no, yeah. No, we were big into, at the time burning Napster and, making our
own. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
CDs
Own
and
CDs.
all that good stuff. So, yeah, I you couldn't pay me to do it.
What about getting you in a bear suit to attack the tents of the people camped out on in front of Best Buy? Would you do that?
Would I?
I'll dress you in a bear suit. You know, these people camped out. You
Oh,
go
just go have
rip
fun
their
with them?
tents.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, what I think would be fun to do. You know, everybody's fighting for parking spaces at the holidays. Just to get there really early. Just sit in the front space with your reverse lights on all day.
They're lined up waiting. Yeah. Or you don't even have to wait for Black Friday there. You just do that at the mall Christmas shopping.
Or just
anytime.
walk like you're getting into your car. Like get your
Carry
keys
some
out.
bags and just walk up aimlessly up and down the aisles.
See,
and then you head up one aisle and then cross over two in the middle of it.
And you get it. Yeah, that would be fun to me. See, that I would get up early for just to torment people. But I actually, as you know, folks, worked retail for years in my post-high school days and up until like 98. And unfortunately, I had to work not only on Black Friday, but one of the stores, which I mentioned, that store Caldor, where the guy shit in the box in the stockroom, we were open on Thanksgiving. But this was before, like, Thanksgiving was considered like the Black Friday. This was like Thanksgiving morning, where we were just open from like 7 to noon, just to open for the morning. And we had Fruit of the Loom underwear on sale that day. Okay, you remember the glass cubes they put the underwear in and the T-shirts? You remember those glass type cubes?
Yeah, they stack up vertically.
Yeah, kind of like what the men's dress shirts are in. Well, we had underwear in there, and we had a big sign. Now, the signs we didn't print ourselves; they came from corporate for sale. So that this one they couldn't fit Fruit of the Loom across, so they put F.O.L. underwear, buy one get one free. Clearly, Fruit of the Loom.
Yes.
Hanes was on the other side. So now I'm just struggling to get through the 5 hours of Thanksgiving, thinking I can't wait to get home with my family for Thanksgiving. And I get the announcement over the loudspeaker in the store. Manager to the front register for customer assistance, please. So I'm the asshole manager on duty that Thanksgiving. So I go up there, and I go, yes, ma'am, can I help you? She had Hanes underwear. She goes, these underwear are supposed to be buy one, get one free. I said, ma'am, I think that's Fruit of the Loom. So I take out the circular, which I carried everywhere out of my back pocket, and I say, no, ma'am, you have the wrong ones. It's Fruit of the Loom. The sign over there says all underwear is 50% off. Buy one, get one. So I said, okay, let's take a walk over, and you show me, and if that's the case, I'll give them to you. We get over there, and we see the sign, F.O.L., the abbreviation for Fruit of the Loom, underwear, buy one, get one. She goes, see? It says Foal underwear.
Full?
Foal, F-O-L, like the abbreviation.
Yeah.
I go, so that's the abbreviation for Fruit of the Loom. She goes, no, Foal means all underwear. Imagine playing this woman in Scrabble. So she translated Foal means all. I don't know where the hell.
All.
Yeah, so we had a back and forth, and finally I just gave her the goddamn underwear because I wanted to go home. But this is these idiots that come out. Instead of being home with their family, having turkey or enjoying the holiday, they're out fighting over underwear.
Did you tell her you didn't think they were going to fit her?
I don't know what she was doing. But this is what I mean. You're going to get up Thanksgiving morning and go and buy underwear.
Yeah, well, and cranberry sauce,
Yeah.
2-for-1, allspice.
So and then I also had two women bludgeon each other for a men's dress shirt on Black Friday one year. Actually, one woman took the other woman's head and smashed it into the glass, and she had caught the police were there. This is why I was retail manager. But that's what I mean. They tell you on Thanksgiving Day, as Americans, we're supposed to sit around with our family and talk about what we're grateful for. And then a couple hours later, you're out beating the shit out of each other over underwear and a men's shirt.
I wonder. See, I see stuff like that, and I try to make up stories in my head sometimes. It makes me weird. But it would have been so much better if they're buying that dress shirt for the same man.
Yeah, exactly.
Fighting over
See that?
I'm gonna give it to him.
But they don't know. They don't know that they're buying it for the same guy. Or do they?
Well, they might. Can't believe that bitch is at the store too.
Yeah, exactly. So our main topic today, and it kind of ties in with the holidays because everyone's going to be flying the next few days and on the roads, and it's actually chaos. Thanksgiving, I think it used to be the Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving used to be the busiest days. Now it's starting to, I think it's the Tuesday, they say, is the busiest airport day. But people get on the roads now on the Monday and the Tuesday and the Wednesday to visit family. Now, you sticking around for the holidays?
We are sticking around. We're actually going to celebrate my side of the family's Thanksgiving this weekend. I've got some family coming in from out of state. And then we will be doing Thanksgiving Day with my in-law side of the family.
So you don't have to get on the roads with all these
Both
crazy...
sides of the family local.
That's great. Well, we have family in New York who are staying put this year because they have a wedding up there. And we're just... stay local like we always do and love it. It's great. So you have any time off before the holiday? Or do you commute in those 3 days before?
I think I'm going to take Wednesday off.
Okay.
Hang around. Kids are out next week, so play a little daddy daycare on Wednesday.
So you get to deal with not only the regular morning commuters on Monday and Tuesday, but you get the holiday travelers as well.
Yeah.
Coming through Atlanta.
A little bit.
So in the past, has that been a busier day on the roads for you, or is it a little lighter? People stay home?
I'm blessed in that I can adjust my schedule accordingly. So
Okay.
I try to steer clear and avoid that kind of stuff.
So your commute is basically from the suburbs, like in the northwest suburbs here in the Cobb County to the Atlanta, the actual city of Atlanta, and it's about 16 miles?
Yeah, I believe so.
So how long does it – now they're saying – real quick, they're saying – and I don't know how they tabulate this because it's way off. They're saying Los Angeles, followed by New York City, followed by San Francisco, and then Atlanta is fourth. And they give you the total amount of hours. This was a study done this year for the most congested cities. They're saying that Atlanta commuters spend an average of 70 hours a week in traffic. Now, I think that's too low. Because there's 365 days in a year. You take 104 off for the weekend, so you're in the 250s. Say you get 40 days off a year, you're still in the low 200s.
Yeah.
That you're going to work. So you're telling me you're only spending 20 minutes a day in traffic? That averages out to 70 hours.
I guess
That it can't be, unless that means totally stop traffic.
Here's a kind of finicky thing I've seen about Atlanta, at least. I mean, you've got pockets of people that they'll spend an hour, or groups of people that spend an hour or more in the car one way. And then you find, you talk to people, socialize with them, and their house to their place of business is 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So are they taking the collective average here?
Right.
Don't know.
So what is your typical 16-mile commute? How long does it typically take on an average?
It's all dependent upon time of day I leave.
Okay.
So
if you're in the heart of the worst part of the rush hour.
If I'm in the heart of it, it's going to take anywhere from an hour to hour and 15 minutes. So I can leave the house. I would say that the thick of it, if I leave the house at 7:15, I will get to the office somewhere between 8:15 and 8:30.
Wow.
Now, if I leave the house at 7,
right,
or if I leave the house at 7:45, it'll take me about 35 minutes.
Wow, so it's a big difference.
There's a little window there where you're good.
And what if you throw rain into the equation?
All hell breaks loose. People are dying.
Folks, I know when it rains or some type of precipitation anywhere in the country, things get bad. But let me tell you, it's terrible here when it just rains. Now, you factor in – I've been here for a couple of ice and snowstorms, folks. We don't have the equipment that other parts of the country have, so I get it. But everything shuts down for days until it melts.
Hands down. Quarter of an inch, eighth of an inch of ice. Their milk and bread. I don't even eat, milk and bread. I don't know what the hell are people doing. Like, oh, get the milk and the bread. Like, what are we going to make French toast? Like,
what's your storm survival stuff? Whiskey? Bourbon?
yeah. Bourbon Hot Pockets. And,
Pockets.
Throw my kid a frozen pizza or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's that guy Vic DiBitetto, the comedian that does that whole. I'm sure you've seen the YouTube video of him saying, "I got to get the milk and bread in a panic." It's gone viral. So it's the truth, though. Like, I always wondered that too. What are you doing? You're just gulping milk out of the carton and just ripping bread with your teeth.
I'll never forget. I was down visiting my cousins one year in Mobile, and a hurricane was coming, and we went to like the Walmart in Mobile or something to get some provisions or something like that. And the milk, the bread, the Pop-Tarts, and the beer was just cleaned out.
So they got it right.
That's Alabama.
They got it right.
Yeah.
No, I like comfort food. If I'm stuck inside, winter's coming. Last year we got a significant snowfall like first week of December.
We did, yeah.
And I enjoy having, like you said, like those pizza rolls, things like that.
Some soups.
Macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. That's what I want to eat. I'm not eating bread.
No.
So have you been caught in any of these ice or snowstorms in Atlanta, or have you been like...
There's been one or two, and I don't remember it being anything of significance. I do remember the December last year that you mentioned, the power went out, and at the time my wife was pregnant, and we had a 2-year-old as well, and we didn't know how long the power was going to be out, so I did get out that night. Creeped my way, spun out, did all the whole stuff to just find some firewood because all the firewood was wet. So I've done that. My wife has been stuck. A couple of years ago down here, we had what is affectionately known as Snowmageddon.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So my wife she has, at the time, had about an hour commute one way to work. And she left her office, and 10 hours later, she was still 10 miles away from the house.
Yeah.
And fortunately, she was in close proximity to a girlfriend of hers condo. So
Right.
she went out there. But, it gets crazy around here.
Yeah, folks, I know people criticize the South. I'm from up north, and when I lived up there, I was one of those people like, oh, they can't handle a quarter of an inch of ice or snow. You don't have the equipment, and it's not flat like it is up north.
It's not.
It's hills everywhere, and it's treacherous here. I'm telling you.
I think the weird statistic. I think the city of Atlanta actually owns. I think they've gotten more since that last bad storm, but that big one, the Snowmageddon. I think the entire city of Atlanta owned 2 or 3 snowplows.
Yeah, I read an article today where the whole state has 70 vehicles that can have plows or sanders attached to them. Whole state. And we have 100 and some odd counties here in
159.
159 counties. A pretty big state, 70 vehicles, folks.
That's right.
Covering the whole state, so don't criticize.
Yeah. There's other things we succeed at.
So you're driving along in the morning. Now, I did like an episode, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago about, crazy things I've seen on the road. What are your pet peeves on the road? I know we just got this hands-free law. Has that helped? Because I don't commute every day. And when I did, I was going to it right here to Marietta. I was 15 minutes away, so I didn't get on the interstates. Are people putting the phones down now, or are you still
For the most part, it's interesting. You can tell when you're creeping up on somebody or pulling up alongside them to pass them. You can tell, by the glance down, they've got it right there on their lap or on the console.
Yeah.
So, has it helped? I'd say yes, been somewhat positive, but people are still doing it.
I mean, I used to leave at 5:45 in the morning and see people. This was before the hands-free thing went into effect. Chatting away on the phone at 5:45 now. I always wonder, who are you talking to?
Who are you talking to? Yeah.
I mean, if somebody calls me at 5:45 a.m., you better be in a hospital or need bail money.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
somebody better be dead.
They're deep in conversation at 5:45. Like, who are you talking to?
They're going over, sales forecasts for the week.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. That's something I never understood, that early morning thing. So the phones, are they a pet peeve of yours? Bothers you when people
phones
on the
don't
phone?
bother me, and I will admit, I do really well with the hands-free, but I am on the phone constantly.
Right,
because
of your job. Yeah.
Because of my job. So that doesn't bother me. People not paying attention.
Right.
You're behind them, 1 or 2 lights behind the red, or 1 or 2 cars back at the red light. Light turns green, 2 cars in front of them go.
They're
still
distracted.
sitting there screwing it off. That bothers me. Yell at them. Ridiculous U-turns where U-turns shouldn't be made. I do my best to, it's at an intersection. I'm going around a median. I get, but you'll see, no median. They whip it across the center turn lane, and that just bothers the hell out of me. So
I had that happen to me last Friday. I'm on my way home from Costco. I'm feeling all fucking festive here. I got a new wreath in the car, a new figurine. I'm really enjoying myself driving home from Costco. An old lady makes a U-turn right in front of me, and
no blinker,
out of nowhere,
no slowdown,
nothing.
Yeah.
Came from the opposite direction of traffic, just came across and made a U-turn right in front of everybody. People swerving off the road. I pass it because you always, when you pass somebody, you have to see what they look like.
Yeah.
Right? You have to see what this idiot looks like.
Do they look what you think they look like?
Usually they do.
Yeah.
Usually they do. It's usually they're 110 and they should have had their license taken away back in 75. Or they're distracted. They have a phone to their ear. But you just have to slow down and just see, like you said, if the face matches the action.
Experience.
That they
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I will say this, though, and this just happened last week. So I picked up the kids, and we're headed to go get dinner. And inevitably, it has happened 2 or 3 times recently that we are about as far away as we can get, or we're going from the house. And my daughter goes, "Daddy, I gotta poop." And I'm like, oh, man. So, at this particular night, it was raining.
Right.
I saw the restaurant. I could see it was packed. I didn't, get both kids out in the rain and all that stuff.
Right,
and so
right.
I had a split second to decide, what do I do here?
Okay.
And I hit the shitty U-turn.
Oh, boy. You were a mutant for a night.
One night, I was like, oh.
Well, like I've always said, folks, we do. We're. You know what? If somebody taught me this when he taught me how to drive, a friend of mine that I worked with, I was 17. He was in his 20s, and I worked with this guy at a sporting goods store, and he kind of was the guy, other than driver education, taught me how to drive. And he looked at me one day and said, Charlie, you have to drive like everyone's an asshole out there. You got to be prepared for everything. And he looked at me and he goes, and every once in a while, you're going to be an asshole.
Yeah, you're the asshole.
And he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think of that all the time. Like, it stuck with me over the years, and it's the truth. Sometimes I'm an asshole, too.
So you think this old lady, the 110-year-old lady that hit the U-turn in front of you, maybe she just had to poop?
She could have.
Yeah.
Well, no, because she probably had the diaper on.
Yeah, she just got. So the other thing that really pisses me off, and this is more my lack of knowledge than mutants on the road, is in my travels, other states will have traffic laws that we don't have here, and I don't know. And I'm getting honked at. I'm the mutant because I just don't know. I don't know what the hell that sign means.
Well, yeah, you're supposed to read up on this before you go everywhere. Let me get the traffic law book out for South Carolina and see what I mean.
Right.
Exactly.
And northern Midwest, there's in Michigan in particular, there's these Michigan U-turns or Michigan left-hand turns, and it's like this little drive-off area. So instead of hitting the full U-turn, you whip it into this drive-off area on the other side, wait for the oncoming traffic, and then pop it out. And how the hell? I'm a Hertz Gold member. How the hell do I know?
Hertz Gold. Yeah. So what? Like, I've talked about some crazy stuff I've seen on the road, in the mornings or wherever. What's like some of the craziest shit you've seen on a work commute?
Unfortunately, every now and then you'll come up on an accident that has obviously just happened, and emergency responders aren't there yet. There's some bystanders there trying to help, and you see people hurt. Maybe one or two times I've seen some people who are obviously passed away, and that kind of shocks you to your core a little bit. And then you realize you have stuff to do, and you're like, "Hey, I'm not going to stop to help. I got to keep on going here." But
I got my good jacket on today.
But anyway, so unfortunately, that kind of stuff sticks with you. But one happened to me about 2 weeks ago, and it was on the drive home. It's about 5:45, and this particular route on the drive home where I was.
Were you in Atlanta in the city limits?
Yeah, I was in Atlanta, yeah. And so on the way home is one lane of traffic each way, and that time of day it's just log jammed.
Right.
So right in front of me is a police car, Atlanta Police Department, and I know I'm on the phone with my wife at the time, hands free, but I see
spit my coffee out there.
So I see, and I tell her, I said, honey, I don't know what's going on here, but the cop car in front of me has 2 cops in the front seat, and there's somebody in the back seat.
Right.
And the guy in the back seat has the windows down, and he's got his hand out on the door handle.
Uh-oh.
Like he's about to bust out himself. So
he's going to head to the IHOP.
Right, yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, what do I do here? He's gonna pop this door. Are the cops going to notice? Do I need to get out and yell halt? Like, what happens here? So just as I'm noticing that, the cop car slows down. Doors come flying open, and all 3 of the people in the vehicle were police officers.
Uh-oh.
And these are guys in tactical gear, not street uniforms. They're
something right out of the movies.
They've got the handgun strapped to the hip and all that. So anyway, they come out. Guy in the backseat looks me dead in the eyes, holds his hand up as if he's motioning for me to stop, and he pulls his weapon. The other 2 guys in the front, they pull their weapon. They start going to the car directly in front of me.
So you're in the middle of all this.
Yeah, so I'm thinking to myself, all right, great. Now here we got a police raid. The guy in the car that they're stopping, what the hell happens if he starts shooting?
Sure.
Right? Because I'm behind the cops at this point.
Right.
So I'm looking at, can I get...
You're hoping he's a good shot. I mean...
Yeah, I don't want him to, anybody get hurt, but I know I'm not agile enough to get behind my dashboard, Don't want to spill my donuts and stuff, different stuff like that. So, anyway, about that time, there's the oncoming traffic, they see what's happening. So they stop.
Oh, boy.
And all 3 police officers have pistols drawn at these people in the car. And the lady behind me starts wailing on the horn.
I got places to go.
Yeah, and I'm looking up, and she's throwing her hands up like, go, dumbass.
Yeah, drive right into the shootout.
And I'm screaming at her. Meanwhile, my wife's on the phone the whole time. I'm like, do you not fucking see the SWAT team in front of my car? Anyway, this whole thing went on for about 6 or 7 minutes until finally...
They had a sale on men's shirts that day.
Yeah. But the police officers did allow us to pass. No shots were fired. And the whole time, this lady's like...
It's unbelievable. Did it make the news that night when you got home? Did you happen to see what happened? Or
no, the TV in my house stays on Disney Junior. So I did, yeah. So other things I've seen, people playing musical instruments.
You saw someone play an instrument,
and not just rat-a-tatting on the
steering wheel.
On the steering wheel. I mean, guitars. trumpets, drumsticks.
Really?
Yeah, and they're good.
Were they all together?
No. Separate occasions. And then you're sitting there and you're watching them, and they're good. Like they're just getting ready for a gig, right?
And you're like Simon Cowell in the next next go, you're giving them a rating.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't stick with me, dog. But the probably the weirdest thing, and I've seen this more times than probably somebody should, is couples deciding the time is right and let's get intimate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Couple times just flowing down the freeway, highway and stuff like that. The oddest times.
Not actual intercourse, though.
No,
other pleasures.
Yeah.
Other roadly pleasures.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah. And so you see it, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. And then you just try to, lock eyes forward and not pay attention. Unfortunately, one time, I was driving a little bit taller SUV at the time, and it's standstill traffic, and it's happening. Oh, man. Happening in the car next to me.
It's like you're part of the situation.
Yeah, happening in the car next to me, and the guy makes eye contact.
Oh, God.
And gives the thumbs up. And it's just like,
gives the thumbs up.
What the hell do I do here? So anyway, and then another time I was traveling for business, and I had a senior executive with me, and we were stuck in traffic, and it was...
That's awkward.
And it was really awkward. I was like, I hope he doesn't see what I see right now. But, yeah, so that's some of the craziest shit.
I was on the way home last summer from that parking lot job, and you can always tell when there's an asshole way off in the distance because you just see one lane just at a standstill and everybody passing on the right. So, again, I had to get up to this lady or this man to see what they were doing. I get up to the car. And she has the windows down. It was a hot summer day and a jalopy because obviously the air conditioning didn't work. And she was cooling herself off with a nice ice cream sundae, spoon and all. Like a cup. So it infuriated me. So I rolled down my window and I honked my horn and she looked over. I said, "You couldn't get a fucking cone?" I mean, seriously, if you're going to drive, get a cone, people. I know we're not in ice cream season, but next summer when you're at Carvel or Baskin Robbins or wherever the hell you go, Dairy Queen, if you know you're going to be the driver that day, get a cone.
Well, it's like, you go to Dairy Queen and you get a Blizzard in the drive-thru and they're like, "Do you want a lid?" It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. I need this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know I'm hefty, but hell.
But people do eat full meals. I went in the parking lot where I worked. There was a guy drove in the parking lot real slow and then was just idling there. And I said, I better go out there. I don't know if he's going to pay or not. He was just sitting in a spot without paying. So I go out there, and he's got tinted windows. He's in a pickup truck. So I give a little tap on the window. He rolls the window down. Guy's got a full spread of lunch. I'm talking like every course, salad, soup, entree, like all laid out in the front. And he goes, "I'm just having my lunch." I said, "Well, have it somewhere else. You can't have it here."
It's $5 for lunch.
But this guy was driving with, he had it all laid out perfectly. He was having his soup course. He had the salad lined up next, and then he had his veal parmesan, whatever the hell he was going to have. But this is what the people are doing when they're driving.
You ever watch people eating while driving, a burger, Chick-fil-A sandwich, something like that, and you make judgments on them based off what they look like?
Absolutely.
So, like, you'll see...
Me judge someone? Come on, that's what the show's all about.
So it is like, this sociological factor of you see, someone attractive blonde, yoga pants, hair pulled up,
right? And
she's eating, a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Just like, you know what? She's taking care of herself. She's in a hurry. This is
right. Every excuse in the book for her.
And then I'm driving down the road eating a Whopper, and it's like, that fat ass. Yeah, exactly. This guy eats everywhere he goes.
So what's your you have any morning rituals? Like, do you stop for coffee, for breakfast? Anything like, do you have any rituals, or do you just get in like, I'm going to work?
Get in and go.
Right.
So we every now and then randomly after I drop the kids off or something, I'll go get a bagel and a coffee.
Okay.
And I frequent the place, and would they see my car in the drive-thru,
they get the order ready,
and they know know what's coming.
Well, did you hear? It was a few weeks ago, and it's in the book. The reason why a lot of people don't stop is because you're in a hurry and you get behind these people who don't know what they want and these places. I used to go to Dunkin Donuts every morning on my way to the courthouses, and I got behind this guy last Christmas who was getting 4 dozen donuts. Now, he didn't just say pick them out. He had to pick every single individual donut with an explanation for each one. I want a glaze because Carol in accounting doesn't like chocolate. I want... And he went on and on until he got to the Boston cream. And then he said he was getting the Boston cream because, I forget the guy's name, Jimmy in receiving is from Boston. And he would be impressed by that selection. Yeah. So I yelled out, "No, he won't." come on now. And he turned around and he says, are you talking to me? I said, yes, sir. Jim in receiving will smile in your face, and then he will call you an asshole when you walk away. Spare yourself the humiliation. Just let them pick the donuts and let us all get out of here. I pretty much got a standing ovation when this guy walked out. I mean, you got to call these people out. I mean, this is why, like, you can't. You got to add an extra 15 to 20 minutes. If you're going to stop for breakfast, you got to deal with these mutants.
Did they ask for separate boxes because Brenda has a nut allergy?
Brenda has a nut allergy. Yeah. Exactly. Now, do you have any, like, listening habits? Do you talk a lot on the phone in the early morning, or are you like a radio station guy?
I try not to. In recent years, I've gotten into, or actually recent months, gotten into Howard Stern. So I'll listen to
you're just a new Stern guy.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to him back in his heyday?
I don't think I was allowed to by my parents back in the heyday. Yeah,
I'm showing my age here.
That's right. So I stumbled across him, a couple months ago, and Long Business Travels podcast. Now, a coworker of mine, I've always heard of podcasts. Glad I know what they are now.
Right, and you're on one now.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'll find, like, the true crime podcast.
Right. People are really into this true crime.
Yeah, I've discovered a nice little comedy podcast that I've listened to lately.
Now, this true crime stuff, I haven't listened to it. Are they just regular people like me talking about cases that they've researched, or are these...
Cases that they've researched and that they're mostly cold cases.
Okay.
So, cases that they're delving into because the detectives on the case have long since died or retired.
Now, do they have law enforcement on these shows, or are they doing
it
solo?
No, they'll bring in former law enforcement experts and et cetera. So
my wife's been telling me about podcasts for a couple of years, and I kept saying, "Oh, that sounds boring," and now I'm doing one, so I can totally understand. But I was never a big Stern listener on the radio so much. I got into him more on. He's got a lot of his shows on YouTube.
Yeah.
From the old. If you ever get a chance, look up the Petcock episode with Ronnie the limo driver. Petcock is a little switch under the hood, where Howard was hot when he was cold on a summer day and wanted to turn the heat on in the limo, but Ronnie does a switch that you switch from air conditioning for the season to heat, and Howard was basically freezing his ass off and wanted heat and couldn't get heat. So when you get a chance, look for the Ronnie the limo driver Petcock video. I think you'll laugh at that one.
I will look for that.
Jot that down.
So mostly because my job is constantly talking to people all day long, face to face, on the phone, etc. The drive time is my zone the hell out time.
Exactly.
As I've gotten slightly older, I've realized I'm becoming my father and listen to only
talk radio,
NPR.
That's my wife, NPR.
Talk.
I go in her car and I feel like a 70-year-old woman was in there before me. No, I'm a music guy in the car.
Yeah.
That's why I don't even understand like the need for hands free. When I'm in the car, I don't want to talk to anyone unless if it was business and you had to. I get it, but I put my phone in my pocket or in a bag or whatever, and I just put the satellite radio on, and I'm all about music.
Yeah. So if I go to music, I usually don't do the satellite radio just because if something I put on the 80s 90s station and some Belinda Carlisle song I don't want to hear.
Come on, we know that we had a guilty pleasure show last week. What's yours?
I will say I'm an 80s music aficionado.
Okay.
90s boy bands and R&B.
So you do Backstreet Boys. You belt it out.
I not only will do Backstreet Boys, I've been to a Backstreet Boys concert in their heyday.
Oh, you were going in their heyday.
Top to bottom in my Abercrombie.
Now, did you bring a girl to impress her, or did you go on your own?
I totally went on my... No, I brought me and a couple guys. No. Yeah, it was the girl I was dating at the time, my high school sweetheart.
See, I can't judge because I actually went to... The first girlfriend I had was a big Richard Marx fan. I took her to a Richard Marx concert, and Wilson Phillips opened up for them. So I sat through an hour and a half of Wilson Phillips, and then Richard Marx isn't bad, but I actually sat through a Wilson Phillips Richard Marx concert. So I'm not going to judge it.
So so random people opening up. My wife, a couple of years ago, we went with another couple to see New Kids on the Block reunion tour. Right? Wasn't a bad show. But they had this artist come out. It was just her, 2 backup dancers, and a DJ. Very low-key production. She was the opening act, and she said, I want everybody to remember my name. I'm going to rule the world one day. My name's Lady Gaga. And everybody's like, who the hell are you? Get off the stage.
Really? So you saw her before she was anything?
Saw her before she was anything, yeah.
Wow, that's a story.
Right.
Now, this is the type of stuff you listen to in the car, though? Like, you're traveling along, and there's no shame.
Stuff that I can sing along to.
So you sing?
Yeah.
You're singing in the car?
Yeah.
Okay, and there's no shame there?
It's not all sports talk.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, in Atlanta, it's hard to listen to sports talk. No offense.
Not much to talk about.
What's your go-to, like, vulgar Or not. What, like when someone cuts you off or does something stupid, what's your go-to phrase? What do you call them?
Some version of fuck.
Some version of fuck.
Fuckface.
Motherfucker.
Dumb fuck. Fucking asshole.
I don't know why. My default for the last couple of years is cocksucker.
Yeah.
That's the one I go to
that one doesn't
immediately.
roll.
Maybe it's because it's like I've seen a lot of it in like The Sopranos, and I watch a lot of those mob movies and
Yeah.
stuff. And cocksucker is the first thing that comes to my mind when I call somebody on the road.
Yeah. No.
Why is that?
I don't know. Mine's always
Fuck face.
Stupid fuck, dumb fuck, fuck face, fucking asshole. The one thing that I have learned is my youngest is pretty small, but I am having to, things I can say when the kids are in the car.
Yeah, exactly. So do you PG or G it?
You got to.
So what do you
got to.
Give me like a cleaned up version of fuck face.
God. Yeah.
See, I only transport dogs on my wife, and they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I can say anything. So you actually have to clean up your.
Have to. Yeah, she's too smart.
So what about music in the car? Is it like all Disney and Kids Bop in the car?
No. So we'll listen to that from time to time. The weird thing back in July, she all of a sudden wanted to hear nothing but Christmas music. But
oh, right.
Lately we've been. I just downloaded a couple new songs the other day. A lot of like not Michael Jackson, but the Jacksons.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
Blame It on the Boogie.
Yeah, there you go.
With some Jermaine Stewart.
We don't have to take
our clothes off.
Interesting. See, that's a guilty pleasure. That's a guilty pleasure.
Actually, yeah. So if it's just me and her in the car, I'll say, take it, babe, and she'll start back there dancing.
That's awesome. You're teaching them. Teach them with the good stuff. 70s through 90s, because after the 90s, it all kind of went to shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you.
So. What people don't understand also about Atlanta and traffic is, people from the Northeast and in different parts of the country, you guys have mass transit systems. We don't have, within the city limits here, we have a transit system called MARTA, M-A-R-T-A, which basically stays within the city confines. We don't have, I can't hop a train and go to Phillips Arena from my, nearby my house. Why do you think suburban Atlanta folks are so against expanding mass transit into suburban areas?
Yeah, it's one thing that I don't want to say thought a lot about, but I've noticed before. I've questioned it as I travel around and see other cities. Excuse me. And I, having grown up here, moved away, lived in a couple other places, I just think it's a way of life, a pace of life. Mm-hmm. People, and I'm guilty of this too, people, you're going down to, say, a Falcons game. You go downtown, you want your own car, your own comforts. Your sunglasses are in that holder.
Right. The temperature.
Yeah. You want to come and go as you please. You're not really sure. Are you gonna divert and go somewhere else for dinner afterwards? Right. Or are you gonna go right home? And it's just kind of the comforts.
Okay.
You could say, if you ride mass transit to the Falcons game or the SEC championship, you get in for free if you show your train ticket.
Right.
And people will say, well, that's going to fuck up my tailgate.
I mean, tailgates are big up in like the Jets and Giants games and stuff like that, but people will still take – all the times I went to Yankee Stadium, which is hundreds of times, I think I drove there 5 times.
Right.
It's just it's a way of life up there.
Do you bring your shit on the train? Or?
Well, you really just go to a bar or something near the stadium instead of sitting out on
it's just drinking. There's no
go out drinking. You can go out to
involved.
dinner and then go out to a bar before the game. You don't have to sit in the parking lot.
Okay.
Tailgating is, it's big all over the country. It's probably bigger here in the South, probably because the weather is nicer in the winter and the fall here than it is in New York. But people tailgate in blizzards in Green Bay and stuff. You see it on.
Oh yeah, there's some good tailgates. Have you been tailgating in Green Bay?
I haven't. No.
Oh, it's crazy.
I've never been to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You live there, right?
I lived there briefly. Yeah.
And you go to Lambeau?
I've been to 3 games up there.
Totally different culture, right?
Completely different experience. The most recent game I went up there for was Packers-Falcons, and it was probably week 14, week 15 of the season.
Oh, wow.
So it was into December. It was cold as hell.
Yes, the frozen tundra.
Yeah, it was cold as hell, shirtless. It's the only team in the NFL where after, I would say, probably week 14, the official team colors are camo and blaze orange, I would say. You look around the stands. But the beer vendors, and I don't know if they do this up in New York. They probably do. The beer vendors, that late in the season, the beer is just in the tub. There's no ice. It's just in the tub. Because it's cold enough.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's cold enough.
And it's going to freeze if they put the ice in there. But yeah, shirtless, people running around shirtless, screaming for their team, painted chests. It's crazy up there.
See, I think, I read a lot of I shouldn't, but it's a guilty pleasure. I read a lot of the comments on Facebook, like if they post a story about MARTA expansion into the suburbs. And I see the biggest fear that here, people associate mass transit with crime here for some reason.
Yes.
They think someone's going to
So
come from the
stupid.
city on the train, rob, rape, and pillage their home, and then get on the train with their 55-inch TV set and all their valuable belongings.
right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If they want to come rob you, they'll get in a
It's more
car,
convenient to do it in a car
Uber.
because you can go anywhere.
You can even get in an Uber
Right.
if you really want to.
You think like the people who are scared of that, they think the cops are going to have to chase them like in the old western, that hand crank
Exactly.
train car, like I'll get you.
Yeah, it's totally it's crazy to me. And like in the suburbs of New York City, where I'm from, your house was actually worth more. The closer you were to a train station in the suburbs,
It's coveted.
it was because a lot of people wanted to have a 2-minute drive to get on, to park and get on the train, or even walking distance.
Yeah.
And here, people think that it's going to be crime infested, and I don't understand it. It would be so great to just hop on a train. You want to go to a concert. You don't want to drive. And I know there's Uber out there, but it's just the roads are becoming more and more congested. I want to be able to get on a train. I can't tell you how great it is to go to a Bruce Springsteen concert at Madison Square Garden, get on the train with a 6-pack of beer in a brown bag, have a couple extra brown bags, and just drink beer out of a brown bag, a bottle in a bag on the train, and not have to worry about it.
Okay, so if we go to that model, right, MARTA and any other train lines that
Right.
start down here, they're going to have to change the rules. People would do it if you could. You could drink on the train.
Oh,
You can't drink on the train down here.
see, is it enforced?
I think it's highly frowned
Because
upon.
you're really not supposed to in New York, but when you put it in a brown bag, they know you're drinking, but they don't bother you.
Okay.
You can't drink openly where they could see Heineken or whatever, but if you have it in the bag, they just move on.
Gotcha.
See, we need that here.
Yeah.
And, would you take, now, if there was a train station 4 minutes from here and you could just park and get on it and get to work, would you do it?
No.
You wouldn't do it.
No.
What about if you knew a
Because
snowstorm was coming?
Yes.
Okay, so you would do it for bad weather, but not for anything else.
For bad weather, not for anything else. And again, it's just, I think the nature of Southern people is, I'm going to go into my office.
Right.
And halfway through the workday, if I decide I need to run to Costco, I want to go to lunch with the guys, I need
Right.
to have an appointment across town, I need that flexibility. And I completely understand in, cities like, New York, there's the trains will get you anywhere.
Right. You hop on a subway.
The other thing, too, right? Well, shit, I'm going to have to walk 7 blocks to the train station?
Well, that-
Take my car.
You touched on something really good because, like, the first time my wife and I ever came to Atlanta, we drove to check out the area and to see if we wanted to move here. We drove into Atlanta at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, and we're driving around the city, and we were like, where are the people? Like pedestrians. We're so used to a city where it's just wall-to-wall pedestrians, and we drove through it like a little suburban town on Long Island, and we're like, where is everybody? And nobody walks from like point. It's spread out. I'll give you Atlanta's spread out. It's a lot different than Manhattan. That's on an island in a very small, confined, dense area. But nobody's walking around here.
No.
You're just getting in your car everywhere.
Well, it's because now we got those little scooters.
You got the scooter.
Yeah, whip it around.
Would you get on those?
No.
No. He says,
Can you see this hitting the street?
why not?
At 30 miles an hour?
You got a helmet.
Yeah, no. These guys aren't running around.
Bring some
mid-town
hockey
with a helmet.
hockey pads.
Yeah. I'd look like a bear on a unicycle
So you wouldn't get on the train. Probably a lot of your friends wouldn't get on the train to work, right?
if I had friends. They wouldn't, but no.
So what is your solution? You're frustrated and
It's
traffic every day.
110% needed.
Right, but what other than if they're never going to expand it. If people are always going to say no, what is our solution to alleviating the traffic and getting businesses that want to come here because we have a good infrastructure? What's
that's the
solution?
other thing too, right? So Atlanta in particular, I can't speak for other cities in the South, but Atlanta in particular is a big enough city. It's a global city. Hell, we had the Olympics. There's global corporations moving here. North American headquarters moving here, but it still kind of has that down home feel.
Right.
So
right.
It's 110% needed. You could build it. I don't think that would make them come, so to speak.
Really? See, like it's, and you've lived in several cities. I've lived in a couple of metropolitan areas, and you like kind of see what works, what doesn't work. I mean, what you're saying, even if they were to spend the money and build it, people aren't going to use it anyway.
It's
So
still their human nature to that southern
we
nature.
need hovercraft. What do we need here?
Yeah, some.
They've been promising us those Jetsons cars since like the 70s when the cartoon came out.
Still pissed.
But would you really want to fly in one of those? People can't even drive on the road.
Right.
Would you want to be in the air? Would you want to be 30 feet up and have an asshole crash into you?
Not at all.
Like, I wouldn't want a flying car.
Well, and especially, you can barely trust the way, like you said, barely trust the way other people drive, much less fly. They're going to fly over you.
Yeah, I don't think I would be.
Everybody's going to assume you're going to move your Jetson jet.
So you're into podcasts now. You're into Backstreet Boys. So those are your guilty pleasures driving.
Yes.
Do you have any road rage? I mean, do you contain it within the vehicle? Obviously, when your family's in the car, you're going to turn the other cheek. But when you're alone...
I always contain it in the vehicle. I mean, I'll scream.
Right.
I'll curse. I'll, very rarely we'll shoot a bird at somebody. And if I do, it's just more or less, they're behind me.
Right.
They're so close I can't even see the front of their car. I'll just hold it up and just hope they see it. I'm not putting my hand out the window.
Yeah, it's very personal here. Like in New York, you give the finger. You exchange pleasantries, you move on. We don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Here, it's like personal, and everybody's carrying here, so you can't really press the issue too much.
So the other thing you got, I mean, like I said, it's got the down-home feel, right? The other
Right.
thing that you have to be cognizant of is you shoot the bird, and then they get up to you, and you're like, oh, shit, that's Johnny's cousin. Right?
Exactly.
So my father was driving down the street one day, and this car's backing out of their driveway, and he honks at him because he's going to hit him if they keep moving. And this person just shoots a bird. And at the same second she shoots the bird, she realizes that it's my dad. It's this friend of the family, a friend of the family's daughter who we've known since she was like 2.
Boy.
And
Awkward.
she had to call and apologize, and she had to write a letter. Parents made her. But yeah, so you get those,
Well, how did her parents find out that she did it? She went home and told them, like, I
think
just gave so-and-so the bird?
But the funny thing is my dad, he wasn't offended at all. He thought it was hilarious. He's like, oh, little Susie Q shot me the bird. How funny is that?
Well, it happens even here, like, near our subdivision. I'll be out on, like, the main road, which is South Cobb Drive, and somebody will I'll be behind someone who's going real slow, and I don't really tailgate, but I'll gesture a little bit, not the middle finger. They'll see them frustrated, and of course I'm behind them, and then they turn into the subdivision. I'm like, oh shit, this person has seen what I look like for like the last 4 miles.
Yeah. Come get a look at my car later so you know what it looks like.
Exactly. Well, I also have that story I told a few episodes ago. I have the rule now where don't have any road rage within a mile or two of work, because that morning I saw a guy going really slow, tying up traffic, and I passed him, and I gave him the finger and said, fuck you, you old man or old bastard, and gave him the finger, got to work. A couple hours later, I'm at the copy machine. Guy says to me, this guy Doug who worked there, hey, Charlie, good morning. Hey, what's going on, Doug? Were you in a hurry this morning? No, why? Well, you gave me the middle finger on Old Country Road and told me to go fuck myself.
Me an asshole, yeah.
So leave a 2-mile buffer, folks. Don't do it right in your neighborhood or right near your work area. So anything else you want to share with us about commuting that our listeners would be interested in?
No, and I know we're all guilty of it. Everybody's dealing with their own shit. Everybody's just take a fucking chill pill.
Exactly.
And, if you're going to fly off the handle, make sure the time's right.
Yeah, especially now, folks. It's a time, I always say, well, it's Thanksgiving, and then we lead into the Christmas season. Now, from Thanksgiving until Christmas Day, to me, is like, I hate to sound corny, but it's like a magical time of the year. There's like this weird feeling in the air, like where people are hustling, but they're kind of in a good mood because Christmas is coming.
Vacation's coming up,
and all that. Family's coming in. Well, some family you want to see, some family you don't. We all get it. We all have that, folks.
Different episode.
Exactly. That'll be a whole nother episode. But like he said, chill out. It's the holiday season. It brings out the best and the worst in people, I think, the holiday season.
Absolutely. Well, because you're stressed.
Right.
A lot of times that's because of family. A lot of times it's, vacation is coming up, so you have XYZ to do before you shut it down for the holidays.
Right.
Last minute shopping.
You got Uncle Bobby coming over who's got the complete polar opposite political views that you do, and you got to deal with that at the holiday table, right? Steer clear of that. All right. Well, Corey, I really appreciate you coming in after a hard day's work, a hard week's work, and it was great having you come in, and we'll definitely have you back again.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
So, folks, that's going to wrap up this episode of A Bunch of Malarkey. We hope you enjoyed it. Now, we will have our regularly scheduled show the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. That'll be our next show. And we're going to have a special guest, and I will preview that next week. We're going to do a specific topic, another special topic with someone well-versed in that subject. But again, you can, wherever you find us, subscribe. Reviews mean a lot, folks. Not just because I like to read them and, you inflate my ego a little bit, but it's good for us getting noticed. If someone just types in comedy podcast, the more reviews, the more recognition, and the more exposure we'll get. So if you listen to us, you like us, give us a review. It goes a long way. And same thing with the Facebook page. We appreciate you voting. Make sure you vote for the Mutant of the Week. We'll have that up for you Monday. This episode, obviously, is out on Monday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and we'll be back next Tuesday. Don't kill anybody in the stores, right, Corey?
Don't do it.
Keep it mutant-free, folks. So, folks, as I always say, and even on Thanksgiving week, beware. It's a shit show out there. Thanks so much for joining us. This has been a bunch of malarkey. Take care, everybody.